All right, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen of the IWC? It is your boys, Luke, Jake, and Tommy. Missing Shet today, but welcome back to another episode of Off the Top, the Wrestling Podcast in the new year, 2024. We missed you for a lot of months in 2023, but we're back in the new year.
Yeah, what time is it? What's happened?
Oh,
yeah, you guys heard of CM Punk?
Huh.
No.
Did he come back?
Yeah. Well, no, he's got a big match against Samoa Joe coming up at All In.
Oh,
hopefully,
yeah.
Hopefully nothing goes wrong there.
Hope not.
That's crazy. That was the last time he did pod. He hadn't punched out Jungle Boy yet.
It's been,
he hadn't punched out
Jungle Boy was an active wrestler.
Yeah, he's the devil. He's not. But it's good to be back. Shetler's skiing with the boys. Of course, we kind of caught him off guard with this. This was an idea that we had the other day, was to come back with a thing, and he already had a vacation lined up. So we'll do one without Shet, and then hopefully many more to come in the new year. What's that?
He's in Montreal, right? He's in.
Yeah, is he skiing? Didn't he say he was skiing?
Nice,
in Montreal with Sami Zayn.
Like oh,
him and Sami Zayn's hitting the slopes. In Montreal, Quebec.
Him, Sami Zayn, and Turge. They're all just
the bloodline. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the new bloodline. But yeah, so we're hoping to get some more stuff in 2024.
Absolutely. But this episode, we're going to go over some awards that we have for the year 2023. We have a bunch of awards. We have different winners for each category. I believe we have, I want to say, about 8 categories here.
I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We have 7 categories that we're going to choose from.
Way too much.
Before we get into some of our categories here, we want to recap a little bit what we missed, because we were on a couple month hiatus there, and I guess we'll start with none other than the cruise ship. No, not the cruise, not the Jericho cruise. We're gonna.
It's still happening. I saw the match card about 20 minutes before. It's still happening, man.
We'll catch
getting that Don Callis family versus Speedball Mike Bailey and Big Show or something. I saw. It's a crazy card.
Man, I can't wait to not do that.
Oh yeah, no women's matches though.
No. Couldn't.
Why is that?
Maybe
they're probably not. Yeah.
What happened?
100 feet away from any of them for Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure, somebody will be there.
You know, like the storm in Fortnite. That's Chris Jericho right now. He can't he can't go in the storm.
Hey man, I've been saying on this podcast for a long time, man. Get that guy the fuck out of here.
It's tough. It's tough to see him go out.
But where did you actually want to start, Luke? Because there's so much that we missed.
I guess we'll start with The Rock, because he did just make not his long-awaited return, because he did return like just a few months ago, which we also missed. That was on a SmackDown where he called Austin Theory a bitch straight to his face, so that was cool. But no, he did come back in quite grand fashion, hindering the one and only Jinder Mahal in the process, which not fucking cool, Rock. I don't know what he was thinking there. And then coming out and saying, where should he go to eat at the bar? Where should he sit? Should he sit at the bar? Should he get a couple drinks? Maybe he'll sit in the booth, or should he sit at the head of the table? Kind of teasing a match with Roman Reigns later on. Who knows if we'll actually get that, or if that'll actually, come to fruition or not. But are you guys, obviously you guys are happy to see Rock back, but do you see this actually leading into anything of note, I guess? Maybe a WrestleMania match or something in the future?
You want to go, Jake? Okay. Yeah.
I'll go first. I'll go first. I don't know. I don't know about WrestleMania, because I think what's been cool about these like B-level pay-per-views being in other countries is it's kind of gotten away from the whole like WrestleMania isn't about, because I love the days when WrestleMania was just the top dudes on the card wrestling each other. Like I always thought that was cool. It was almost like it seemed like a reward for being a wrestling fan for a year. Like, oh my God, WrestleMania, we're seeing Triple H and John Cena. Like what? Like those are the two big guys. Like you would never see that on like No Mercy, but you're gonna see it at WrestleMania. Whereas like now, like especially in the last like 10 years, it's been since The Rock came back the first time, it's been like a big spectacle where the main event is, Lesnar and Reigns, or Lesnar and somebody, or it's Goldberg. So it's like, I like that, that what it seems like is that we're not getting rid of the story that's being told, which is Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and that we might still get that at WrestleMania, but because the B-level pay-per-views are going to be in just as big of arenas in countries with potentially bigger crowds, like Elimination Chamber, I think, is in Australia. That might be where we see The Rock and Roman Reigns, and it might not be at WrestleMania, which, everybody's like, oh, it's got to be at WrestleMania. It had to be at this past year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles for it to even really make sense, and it wasn't. Philadelphia, Rock and Roman Reigns is like, well, what? Like that seems a little. If you were going the hometown stuff, like who? That doesn't mean anything. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns in Philadelphia means a little bit more for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because he said the ECW within town that one time. But no, I don't know. I think we'll see it at some point. Maybe at the Elimination Chamber. I don't think he would tease it like that if there wasn't something in the works for those two to have a match at some point.
Yeah, I agree with you with Chamber because I feel like it just makes the most sense. I feel like you're already kind of building up to where it's probably going to be Cody at Mania. That's what it's looking like because I think it's going to be Punk and Rollins on the other side, and it doesn't really make much sense for anyone besides Cody. So I feel like, okay, you do the match at Chamber. Roman's, he's obviously going to win, I feel like, or maybe they don't do it for the title. But, I don't know. I agree with you. Like, since they're going more global with the pay-per-views, it makes it way more bigger. Like, I look at the Backlash one last year. Like, the crowd just was nuts the whole time. Money in the Bank, was that in London too, right?
Yeah.
I thought the crowd was great over there too. So like you said, with the bigger pay-per-views, it's not just, comebacks are just going to happen at WrestleMania. Now it's like they can happen at any other pay-per-view now.
Yeah, it's cool. It makes it more exciting. And I won't lie, Luke, when you were talking about The Rock with his little line there, his little swerve that he did on I had no idea what he was talking about. That genuinely caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Like I was because like some guys will come back and they'll be like, oh, I'm in Cincinnati, so I can't wait to have some of that Skyline chili when I leave, and they get the cheap pop. Like that's what I thought was going on. I was like, what restaurant is in San Diego that's this famous that I'm gonna know sitting in Syracuse, New York? And when he said something about like sitting at the bar, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna say that at the table. And then when he said it, like I won't lie, Tommy,
goosebumps.
You got the
goosebumps. I got some goosebumps.
He got the goosebumps too, I think.
It was cool, man. Yeah. That was a really, really cool moment. Like I was telling my brother about that, like how that was just like, I don't know, that made me excited again. And I haven't felt excited about wrestling, hence why we haven't done a podcast in 6 months in a long time, and hence why I'm going to host this award ceremony, because I don't have too much good to say about some of the stuff this year.
I will say 2023 was a special year in wrestling.
It was a very good year.
It was an amazing year. I think a lot of people are starting to call this the Renaissance era, or at least I'm seeing that on YouTube and on Twitter and things like that, because there is a new spark in wrestling and being a fan again, and cool stuff happening. It's not PG stuff all the time. It's not Super Cena, beating up everybody. You have cool stories, cool characters, and things that are aligning, along with having celebrities that make sense to come into the company, like Bad Bunny and Logan Paul, and you're getting a lot of eyes on the WWE now, which I think is a great thing. But I will say, to go back to The Rock for a second, I don't think a match with him and Roman makes sense to have the title on the line. I think this is a match that's honestly kind of bigger than the title. This is like a John Cena versus The Rock match. Like, obviously they had the title in it the second time, which might have not been the best decision. But I do see this eventually happening. I think it might happen at WrestleMania 41, to be honest, guys. I'm thinking this is another year in the making, because I think the turnaround is too quick for this year's WrestleMania, especially with what they have going on with Cody. I don't necessarily think that The Rock would come back for a pay-per-view other than WrestleMania, and I know that it's international now, but I think this is a WrestleMania 41 type match, which may or may not be happening in, where was it, Minnesota? It was teased.
Yeah,
I think we'll probably find out in the next few months. So
Minnesota.
Is Rock doing a movie in Australia?
Oh, that's a good question.
If he's doing a movie down there, like in that time period, I could definitely see it.
Well,
Cars 5.
I think the movie that he's working on now, I could be wrong, is the
Black Adam straight
Moana.
to DVD. No.
Oh, Moana's coming back. That's cool.
Yeah, I think he's doing live action Moana. So honestly, it could be filmed in Australia. I wouldn't be surprised.
We got Moana on Raw. He sang to Jinder Mahal. He sang the anthem. I thought he was going to announce he was going to run for president. I generally thought that was what was going to happen. Like I was dead ass like, oh my god, he's going to announce he's running for president. I was like, this is going to be the craziest segment of all time. If he announces he's running for president, he comes out and talks to a fellow American that just happens to look a little bit differently than him and says, I'm running for president because you do not like the United States of America. That would have been awesome. That's so wrestling.
Let me tell you, Jinder's promo.
It was very good.
Yeah,
it was
Muhammad Hassan like.
Dude, it really was like, well, don't boo me.
Yeah.
And like how like the crowd should be ashamed that that it was Muhammad Hassan like, because the man was just like, hey, I'm not a bad guy here.
Yeah,
and then everybody was like, nah, man, USA, get out of here.
Well, I was gonna say I was kind of worried for it at first because I was like, okay, there wasn't a big a pop, but before that, I was like, is it gonna be Big E? Because is he gonna announce he's gonna retire? So I was like, I was like, I really hope it's not. Then I was like, Jinder, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, at first, I was like, they made this big of a deal for just like Jinder Mahal coming back. So I was like, all right.
Oh, so you got work, right, Tommy?
Yeah.
You got worked?
I got worked.
The minute this music hit, because I was hoping it would be him. Like, I just thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
And then when he came out, it was like, okay, somebody else is coming out. And I didn't know whether it was going to be The Rock or Big E.
Well, it went on way too long,
or something.
I was like, it took forever to have The Rock get out there, and then The Rock was out there. I felt like he just kept saying the same thing over and over again.
It was really, it was a crappy segment. If he didn't say that at the end, I would have been like, what was the point of that? They brought Jinder back just to get a cheap pop. And then you saw, like, I watched the whole show. It was the first time I watched Raw front to start in a long time. What was the match afterwards? It was the women's tag match. It was like, Zoe Stark and somebody.
And Shayna versus
against Natalya. Dude, they looked pissed. Like when the match was over, it was like 2 minutes, and they were like, "What?" They had probably like 14 lined up for this match. They're like, "Nah, quick off the ropes, sharpshooter finish, get out."
Go hit catering.
We got Drew and what's his name? Coming up next, Seth Rollins. So it was it did go a little long, but I still thought the end moment was pretty cool. That'll be one of the moments where if we're still doing a podcast in a year's time, we'll look back and go, "Whoa, guys, remember how cool that was?" And then the match sucked. Remember how cool that was?
Then he tore his quad.
Yeah, then we got Tribal Combat 3, and The Rock's brother came out, Rikishi, and he turned on him.
I did it.
Rikishi Bloodline.
For Roman.
Yeah. Dude, if we get that, I'll never watch again. But,
well, it was it was leaked beforehand that it was going to be The Rock, because...
Well, there was that picture, right? I saw that picture.
I know he was on ESPN.
On College Game Day or something, for either the road.
That dude was behind in the background, Nick Khan.
Yeah,
I saw that.
And it was the same exact thing when he came back in what month was that? September or something? October?
Something like that.
Whenever he was in
college football
that was
season.
crazy.
Yeah.
That felt like, so I don't know, I feel like that in many ways, like, I mean, it's still The Rock, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. He's going to get a pop wherever he is. But like I feel like that kind of diminished it because like he was such a random throwaway he's back thing. Like what, 4 months ago?
Yeah.
And now it's like we got him again. And it was kind of like, oh, here he is again. Yeah, The Rock
doing the exact same thing.
Right, but like if that was the first time that we saw him, like in like 10 years, or not 10 years. How long was it? Like 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah,
I think it was 4.
Pre-pandemic, right? When he was calling
2019.
Yeah, when he was calling Baron Corbin, what would he call him? They made the crowd chant it. STD. Yeah,
STD.
Wow. That shit was awesome.
Michael Cole's pop when The Rock came out was
he did the Kurt Angle scream. It was awesome.
Man, I love Michael Cole. Oh
yeah, he's been pretty good, man.
What a legend.
Anything else you want to talk about before we get to the awards ceremony?
I mean, the
That's
only
it,
other
right?
thing
Nothing else
really is just CM Punk, but that happened a few months ago.
Why?
Now.
What happened there?
You're right.
He's still like commentating like indie wrestling, isn't he? Or
no, he did the UFC, and then he's throwing jives.
Yeah, I think so.
The UFC indie wrestling. Yeah, imagine you're CM Punk on the call for DPW.
Chris Danger going crazy.
Chris Danger's first match getting called by CM Punk.
Chris Danger.
This guy's a YouTuber.
Mansoor.
What do you mean? What do you mean he plays video games?
Dude, they've been popping off though. No, like they've been getting everybody. It's like every time I see like, it's like, oh, I guess who showed up at DPW, and it's like, whoa, the Dyad, they're here. No, it's actually a really good product. I actually have like, because how we did the awards ceremony was I you guys all are going to come up with something like a nomination, and then I'll be the one to decide because, like I say, I really, I don't know, I didn't watch as much WWE, I guess, this year as I did other things. So I don't know if you guys have any out of but I wrote down a couple for myself, and I actually have a DPW guy on there that I thought had a pretty good year.
Oh
So.
shit!
Yeah, I actually went out of the box with a couple. It sound like one of those real wrestling
Is it
journalists. It's not Chris Danger. No.
Nice.
We will pick it up from here now. As the recording, Riverside has just decided to take a big old fat steamy dump on our 2024 New Year's resolution of trying to do more content. But regardless, we will pick it up again for the third time with the Breakout Star of the Year, our first ever award. So we're going to start off with Mr. Shetler, who picked LA Knight, and in parentheses he wrote, "Nuff said."
Okay,
there it is.
What do you guys have?
See, I thought one of you guys was going to do LA Knight, so I went with a different route because I was like, I don't want us all. I went Dirty Dom just because. Dirty
Dom's a good one.
I felt like if you look at like his matches, I think he's wrestled like the most matches all year, and I don't know if you guys saw on Raw the pop for just like the amount of booze he got in San Diego was insane. But like if LA Knight, nothing wrong with that. I just want to go a different route just because if we all had the same
defend
answer.
Your pick, Tommy. Defend.
No, it's because if you
LA Knight.
Do you both have LA Knight?
I don't.
I don't have one. It's
okay.
Up to. I'm just just judging. So
I also like Dom. It kind of started at the end of 2022, but I look at like the road to WrestleMania. He grew a lot. I feel like that match was insane. Him coming out in the cuffs and everything, just like that.
Liv Morgan style.
Yeah, doing like getting the North American champion. I think that also helps too. Is that he did carry a title, whereas LA Knight he probably should be carrying a title, but he's not. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Who do you have, Luke?
I have Mr. Jey Uso, formerly of the Bloodline. He comes out and
it's just him, Moose.
The man, it's just him. He's so electric by himself. He really is. And I didn't think that he could be if you ever broke up the Usos. I didn't think that one of them would be a star. No, this guy is like main event level. Obviously, his nickname is Main Event Jey Uso, but he's taking it up a different level now. His character arc, starting from last year's Royal Rumble all the way to the end of the year, pinning Roman Reigns, everything that's happened with him and Sami Zayn. I think he's in for a big 2024. Man, I love Jey Uso. I can't lie. Listen. I'm a big Bloodline supporter. I'm a big Roman Reigns supporter. You're
part of it. You're part of the Bloodline.
I am. That is true. Jay did break up our family. Thanksgiving and Christmas was very awkward, but listen, I gotta,
Where do you sit at the table?
The head. Obviously, where the head is. I'm somewhere in the middle, kind of by like.
I didn't know if like you had a little chair right next to him or.
No.
Do you sit before or after Naomi? Where do you sit on the Bloodline in comparison to Naomi?
Are you like back more like with Umaga's?
You're at the kids' table with like Zilla Fatu and all those other Usos that wrestle at MLW.
You're not near like Uncle Joe or anything.
No.
Well, listen. You guys, those are actually three really, really good people to dominate like that. Those are, if I had to come up with any three, those were ones that I would come up with. I think just because of how thoroughly entertained I am by the guy on a weekly basis and how impressive it genuinely is versus where he started in the company, I got to give it to Dirty Dom. I really do. I think Dirty Dom, like, I mean, he was pretty bad for a long time. And like he was just boring. He was just Ray's kid. Like he was good when he first got there and he was like getting hit with canes and stuff. Like that was cool.
It's good when he was a kid,
and when he was like, his custody sing him happy birthday or whatever.
No, even before that, the custody match.
The custody. Yeah, the custody match. But no, like he's really come across to like the point where you almost forget he's Ray's son, and I think that's really impressive. Where I haven't forgotten that Jey Uso is still an Uso yet. So I think that's why I'm going to eliminate him from this. I am really entertained from Jey Uso, though. When he runs to the ring and he does the little sly run down to the ring, that makes me laugh every time. And, LA Knight, I think is, I would have loved to see. He had a great year, but I felt like it was almost like, we'll give it to the fans. Like, he's over. I guess we'll just throw LA Knight a bone. Didn't feel like he really cracked that next level as a top star that he probably should have been. So I'll give it to Dirty
I like
Dom.
that.
I wrote down a couple names. Dom was on my list of people. Another person that I wrote down who I think's had a genuinely incredible year, and I think she's one of the better workers on in all of WWE. I think Tiffany Stratton deserves her flowers this year.
Ooh.
I think she had a tremendous
Tiff.
year. She had some good matches with Becky Lynch
Mhm.
and Lyra Valkyria. Those were I wrote those down so I didn't forget. And they were. I think she had a good year, but I'll give it to Dirty Dom. We'll
She
go
gets
Dirty
called up
Dom
soon,
for the
for
first
sure,
ever
right?
award.
I mean,
What's this?
she gets called up soon
Yeah.
for sure.
Gotta be, yeah. There's not much
Yeah.
for her. Well, she's just lost the. I watched the NXT on Tuesday. She lost the match where she's got to now be on the farm for a while. She's got to go out and work on the farm. Get her, break a nail or whatever.
Do
It's
farm
funny.
things. Yeah.
It's a farm thing,
Farm,
yeah.
Yeah.
So breakout star of the year, Dirty Dom Mysterio. Next up,
Congrats.
we have the most underrated award. So this one I figured was going to be a little bit more difficult to come up with because you could say anything. Because to me, it's like, what's the difference between underrated and underutilized? There's a lot of people, not so much really anymore. I feel like they've done pretty well with giving everybody a spot. But if there's anybody that is underrated, just like everybody, you haven't been able to see that they're good yet. So let's see what you guys come up with. Tommy, I'll start with you.
So I went with the underutilized route, I felt like.
Okay.
And I went Chad Gable just because he was amazing with Gunther. But I feel like after that and before it, they didn't really do anything with him. Like, it just felt like it was the same thing over and over again that we've seen before. So, I kind of feel like we can get a lot more singles matches out of him. And I think it'd be way better feuds. And you can still do him teaming up with the whole stable he has now. So it's like, I feel like there's a lot more storylines you can do with him that, they kind of just we'll just keep him in the tag team. They'll wrestle Imperium for the 8th time in the last 10 weeks. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like, I think it's a Monday Night Raw problem too, where they just wrestle the same people over and over again. So,
Luke, what do you think?
I gotta agree with you, Tommy. I also have Chad Gable. Throw him up for the one time. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, he really has had such a good 2023, and I think we all knew that what he had. Even when he was like Shorty G and Vince McMahon was just shitting all over him. We all knew that Chad Gable had it.
How dare you bring that up again?
Shorty G.
How dare you make me remember that?
Yeah, from coming from Shorty G to where he is now, it is very impressive. I wish they would use him more. I think he genuinely, I think he's going to be the one to take the title off Gunther. I still think there's more meat on the bone for that storyline. Maybe it happens at Mania. Gunther already is the longest reigning champion ever, so who knows how long that goes on for? Probably ends at Mania, but yeah, I think he's going to take it off Gunther, and maybe that's when he won't be underrated anymore. Maybe that's when everybody will see, that he's a star. And comedy gimmick, serious gimmick doesn't matter. He entertains. He is an entertainer.
Who would have the Titantron, right, when they'd come out that just said underrated on it? Was that Mustafa Ali? It was underrated, underutilized.
It might have been.
Was that Mustafa Ali when he was doing the Retribution stuff? I don't know, for whatever reason that just rings a bell in my head.
Was it during the pandemic era, or was it?
It might have been. It might have been. I literally can only picture the Titantron. That's it.
You know who? It was Kurt Hawkins. That's who it was.
Was it?
No, I don't know.
Oh, I was like, how would I remember that? I was almost going to be embarrassed of myself that I remember the Kurt Hawkins Titantron.
No,
but let's get Sheller's pick is really an interesting one because I thought about it some more and I thought, you know what, this isn't a bad pick at all because he's not really a typical singles guy, but he's kind of had to be over the last couple months because his partner got hurt. He picked Ivar.
Okay,
and I don't mind that pick.
I like it.
I don't mind that pick. I'm not giving it to it though. I'm going to give it to Chad Gable, but it is a cool pick though. It certainly is, and I think Ivar another one that I think more fits the underrated more than underutilized because Ivar's not winning any titles anytime soon, but he does go out there and he does perform and he does deliver. And I think people kind of forgot that because he's just doing the stinky Viking stuff. But they were a badass tag team at one point. Him and Rowe there. What's his name?
The War Raiders.
Yeah, they were real cool for a long time, and now they're not. So
Now they should
but
know.
they're still as good as they once were. So it's a good shout from Michael Shetler there with Ivar. But I'll give it to Chad Gable. I had a couple people written down. I had a member of Imperium. I had Ludwig
Yeah.
Kaiser because I thought he had a good year, and another guy that's a tag team guy. Here's my DPW guy. I had Brian Keith, the bounty hunter. He's pretty cool. He's been doing some AEW stuff as of late, and then I also just had Impact Wrestling as a whole because they put on some really good stuff. And it always seems like I have not. I'll be honest with you. I've not sat down and watched a show in a long time, but I'll see the clips on Twitter and YouTube, and those shows look hot, man. Like they got like Vladimir Kozlov,
Santino's there.
Santino running around, man.
Isn't he the
like,
GM there, Santino?
Yeah, like they seem fun. Like it seems like a fun time to go and hang out at a Impact show. I feel like for a long time they tried to be too WWE with things and try to just like counterbook whatever was going on with WWE, especially when they had like Hogan and Jeff Hardy and stuff like that. Now it seems like they finally just embraced it and gone, you know what, let's just have some fun.
Yeah.
Let's just tell some stories, have some fun, and see who catches on, and we'll now make it for the audience that we know we have rather than the audience that we think we can get. So they deserve their flowers too. But I'll give it to Mr. Chad Gable for underrated. Next up, Luke Rosenthal gave me a little compliment on this award here, so we'll get to it right now. The non-wrestler of the year. So basically, you have to have no matches to very limited matches. So like I would say Bad Bunny applies for this, but Logan Paul does not. That would be the way that I would line those up. And then obviously like, any ring announcers, referees, managers, general managers, commentators, whatever. So I'll start with you this time, Luke. Who do you got?
So I went a different route with who I chose because this person was featured on WWE TV this year, is not on the active roster, and is in no way connected with the WWE at all. And that is Mr.
Ronda
Sandy
Rousey?
Sapp, the streamer who I watch all my WWE clips with. He has had such a good 2023. Remember a few weeks ago they put a compilation of all the streamers.
I do remember that. Yeah.
He made it on WWE TV.
He was like, he looked like he just watched a murder. Yeah, it was crazy.
He's my favorite streamer. I love him. Great personality. Great on Twitter. Funny guy. I thought he had a great year. And I hope WWE doesn't copyright strike his accounts anymore because that would be really sad.
Well, they just listen, right? Like what they do is cool, but like they just post stuff from the show.
Just
like
backwards.
I don't think you could do that for profit. Like that's crazy. I've seen him do it. I see the girl do it. Wheezy. I see what's the other one? His buddy. I don't know his name.
Yeah,
the ginger guy. It's all I see on TikTok, but they just like post. That's how I watch Raw a lot.
It
but
literally is.
But no, they're very entertaining. They all are really good at what they do. So they genuinely seem to be very entertaining. Tommy, who do you got?
I'd love to pick Luke. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking people
that's a really good one
in wrestling. I was going back and forth. I was either going to go Michael Cole just because I feel like he kind of had a lot more freedom this year. But I went Paul Heyman just because I feel like he's still like a very intriguing part in that Bloodline story. Like he's still part of a lot of the promos. He does a lot of interesting stuff. And then, the call Roman, like that's always... It's
no
like, yeah.
He just let his hair grow out.
Yeah, I was going to say... I feel like the way he's just been able to like kind of stay consistent, I feel like with everyone else in the Bloodline, I feel like has been pretty good. This was a hard category for me because like
it's tough.
I had a tough time thinking of like managers and stuff. It's like there's
not
that
as many.
Yeah.
No.
I was gonna pick JBL with Baron Corbin, but
what? That was this year? Oh, I was gonna say. It's like what? That happened? Yeah, that both really good picks. Shetler went Michael Cole, so I'm glad you didn't go with Michael Cole. So you leave me with 3 crazy picks.
Also, shout out Samantha Irvin.
I had Samantha Irvin written down as mine. I thought one of you guys would pick her. Yeah, man. So Paul Heyman, because like his stuff is very unsung. I feel like he's not. I mean, he had that. Oh man, he had that really good promo with Cody Rhodes where he started crying. That was really good at the start of the year. Man, yeah, this is tough. Santy's pretty funny. Damn, you guys really made this tough on me here. I'm gonna go I'll give it to Santy. You know what? I'll give it to
Yeah,
Santy.
I
We'll give it to Santy.
I was hoping to give it. I really
We'll
like
give
that
it to
pick.
Santy
Shout
because
out.
he did have because I think like it really did go crazy like this year with the people popping off making wrestling content, which is
Yep.
obviously exciting for the three of us and Shetler because that's we'd like to maybe do that as a little side hustle. That would be a lot of fun. So they really, I think, just kind of, and him being kind of a little bit of, I don't know if pioneer is the right word for it, but a little bit of a guy that just kind of came up with an idea and made wrestling reaction content kind of pop off for a while. So much so they got featured on WWE TV, and that's really cool. And like it's even cooler that I think at the start of the year it was maybe Santy doing it and a couple others, and now they were able to fill out a whole compilation of 20 different streamers doing it, and most of them I recognized. As I was saying before the Tommy's Google Chrome wanted to rudely interrupt. Yeah, I had Samantha Irvin. I had Prince Nana for his little dances, and I also had Taz because he's pretty funny on. What did he say? Luke, you said you watched yesterday. What did he say? That was really funny. He said he called somebody. Oh, Darby Allin was was like drooling or something on the outside. He called him Dry Heap Jones. I thought that was really funny because he always Dry Heap Jones out there. So, I thought that was pretty good. So yeah. Also, I didn't realize we were nominating non WWE people. I've mentioned this several times on the podcast how much I'm a fan of these guys. I gotta put old Deadlock up there. Just as even though they are part of wrestling, just they are continue to make me laugh on a weekly basis. And Tommy, they're doing the Rumblethon now on New Legacy.
Yes.
So John Blood's got to get a little shout out there for
I was just
being
saying,
pretty entertaining this year.
Have you watched a lot of the past Rumblethons?
I watched the highlights.
Okay.
I haven't watched the things in full, but I've been watching every one so far. The first couple that have come out, so that's probably my plan once we stop this. Is I'm gonna watch the one that came out today.
There's some gems in there. I'll say that.
Oh my god, yeah, no, they're so funny. I just love the little inside jokes and the
reactions.
About it. Oh, it's so funny. Those guys do what we do on such a different level, but they're very good. But next up, we have the Wonder Heart Award. So the way that I described this was basically somebody that you didn't like or could care less about. So, for example, God forbid this ever were to happen. I doubt it would. But say Natalia has a year that Luke then decides.
Dude, I wrote not Natalia in my.
I am on the Natalia hype train now. But if that ever happens, then yes, then that would be a prime example of the Wonder Heart Award. So I'll start off with Shetler because we're doing a nice little rotation here. He had Chad Gable for this. He wrote, and this is what he wrote in parentheses, always kind of liked him, showcased that he's a big player this year, fantastic ring work, and has great ability to play an underdog role. Sounds like one of those like what Tommy will read on the Iron Claw, like movie description. That's what it sounds like. Because we didn't know what Chad Gable was. But Tommy, I'll go to you next. Who won your heart this year?
This one, I mean, I don't think it's a lot of people. I went Drew McIntyre because personally, I couldn't care less for him. Like after Mania, like I always wanted him to turn heel. Like we've been saying it for a while now. Where like he's just boring. Like they're not utilized. So like they gotten better with it. I feel like I like him better as a heel, and I like the story that he is doing. Where it's like I'm not just gonna like forgive a guy who screwed me out of a world title and like,
right.
So like and right in front of my family and everything. Like I like that. I liked War Games where he stormed back to the locker room. Like I feel like a lot of people looked into that. I felt like they're like, oh yeah, he's definitely upset in real life, and it's like, no, they're playing you like,
yeah. So, it's a work, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this one's definitely a work. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like since he's turned heel, like I've started to enjoy his matches and promos a little bit more.
Luke,
I
who do you got?
That. This is one that I have a tie for. I have a draw. I'm leaning a little bit more towards one person than the other. But the first one, I have someone else in the Alpha Academy, Maxine Dupree, coming over from Maximum Male Models. Couldn't care less about that, but I think she's been a good addition to Alpha Academy. I think she has a nice rapport with the other guys, and Akira Tozawa now joining them too. But somebody else who recently just joined another faction within WWE, who I won't say I didn't care about beforehand, and more so that I kind of just forgot existed. R-Truth is the fucking man.
Okay.
R-Truth.
I thought you were
is
gonna
the
say
man.
JD McDonough, and I was the
No,
title lead.
hell no, hell no. R-Truth
what's
is
he
the
done?
man. When I tell you, so I went to the MSG holiday event last week. R-Truth got the biggest pop out of anybody there.
More than CM Punk.
CM Punk was there. R-Truth got the biggest pop. Because I guess because he wasn't advertised and he kind of just came out of nowhere and then got squashed by Bronson Reed in 2 seconds. But dude, people were lively for R-Truth. And honestly, this is my favorite storyline in wrestling right now is R-Truth joining
hilarious.
the Judgment Day. It's amazing. Triple H clearly has a formula. It's kind of like what he did with Sammy and the Bloodline, and now he's doing with R-Truth and Judgment Day. I love this storyline. I love R-Truth. He's the man.
Yeah, no, very good choices there. I personally prefer the Devil storyline over the R-Truth storyline.
Yeah.
But no, I got all good stuff there. Drew McIntyre is an interesting one. You said Maxime Dupree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that pick. I don't mind that pick at all. But I'll give it to R-Truth. I'll give it to R-Truth. I feel like he's somebody that's always had the hearts, but in the last like 4 years or so, it's kind of been the same rinse and repeat. Oh, I'm gonna run around for the 24/7 title, and then I'll call it something else, and it's goofy and wacky. And like now he's actually doing stuff, and it's pretty funny. The clip with him with the jelly rolls, thinking that was the artist, because they were friends, because they wanted to get back at Dom that one time. Same thing, coming out and challenging JD to the match, and everything on this past Monday was at least making me smile a little bit, minus the Miz, because the Miz kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But him, like, wanting to kick JD out, and he's like, "Oh, I get it, Dom. It's me and you against JD and Miz."
He's in the neutral corner.
But we're not on the same team, though. It's one of them like behind the table things. Like, I thought that was pretty funny. That he was like in the middle of the ring at one point. like it was pretty stupid, but no, very funny, very funny. So I'll give it to R-Truth this year. I had a couple people on this one. I had Daniel Garcia, because I like dancing and wrestling, as I said with Prince Nana, and a guy that I could give two shits about was Daniel Garcia, and now he makes me laugh when he won me over, right? And I'll give you the exact moment when he won him over, and everybody was leaving the Jericho Appreciation Society, or the He Who Shall Not Be Named Appreciation Society, and instead of cutting, because everybody was cutting a promo, like Jake Hager was cutting a promo on Jericho, and all he did was he looked Jericho in the eyes, and he did that stupid dance that he just went boom, like right in his face, like fuck this shit, and laughed, and it was really funny. I also had Alpha Academy on this one, just as a whole, and then the last one I had was Tony Storm, who who has really reinvented herself in a weird and crazy and funny way, to where she's super entertaining now, and I really, she was one of the wrestlers that I really just did not like. Was Tony Storm, and now she's really made it must see her, like doing the frolicking down to the ring and kicking the shoes off and everything. It's really stupid stuff, and I love the close up thing, and then she hits somebody with her ass. Like it's a really funny shtick she's got going on. But I'll give it to R-Truth. Now we get to the big three, the three-headed monster of the Off the Top Awards ceremony. We'll start off with the show of the year.
It's a tough one.
This is a big one. This is a big one. I'll start with Tommy for this one.
So, I went WrestleMania night 1. I'm not counting it as one pay-per-view. I figured,
yeah, that's fair,
I'll pick one of the nights, because I look back and a lot of the matches were really solid on there. There were some big pops. Theory Cena, I thought that was a little bit lackluster, but I felt like they made up for it. They had Ray and Dom on that night. That whole, like, the promo leading up to it, like I said earlier, with him coming out in the cuffs and everything. It was like the Captain Crunch match too, so you got to add that on top of it. Ray actually, like, whipped his son with a belt, like the WWE 13 tweet.
And Michael Cole's like, yeah, yeah.
Like, I just thought, like, that match was amazing in its own way. And then the men's Fatal 4-Way tag team match, the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders, and then Ricochet and Braun Strowman. That match had some crazy spots where I felt like it was exciting to watch. Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, I thought that was a great match.
Yeah.
I remember we thought in that match. Yeah, we were gonna say we thought she, like, broke her nose or something, then she landed on her head, like, straight.
Yeah, that was wild.
She pulled a madcap, and it was just like
she did pull a madcap.
You also had, like, Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, where Seth Rollins like beat up KSI or he put him through the table and everything.
Yeah.
That was entertaining. Logan Paul came out and like I don't even know what the thing's called, like a glider thing, where he was just like he pulled like a shitty Shawn Michaels entrance.
The parachute, or whatever it is. This so what is that thing called?
I was
zip line. Thank you, zip line.
And I'm trying to think. And then the last 2 matches you had Damage Control, and then Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. That was an okay match. I felt like
that was what it needed to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say it did its purpose, and then it set up the feud. And then to finish it off, it was Usos, Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And honestly, I think that was the perfect ending to night one. They win the titles.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert was there.
I told you, add that right in there.
Yeah, George Kittle might have been on this night.
Yeah.
Was this the night where Shane McMahon blew out his knees?
No,
if it is, I'm giving it to you immediately.
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. So that's the night where he blew out his knees, and Snoop Dogg hit the stiffest rope bump of all time.
Yo, props to Snoop Dogg for that, man. That was.
He should have been non-wrestler of the year this year.
Honestly.
But
You're right about that.
But very good pick, Tommy. Shetler had Survivor Series War Games. A little recency bias from Mr. Shetler. No, I'm kidding. He just said that the Punk return was his favorite moment in a long, long time, which I got to agree with him there. It was a pretty solid show. I think on that show you had both War Games matches. The women's was really fun. The men's was pretty cool as well. I loved how they brought Randy back, and the crowd went absolutely nuts for him. What was on that show? I remember Rhea Ripley fought, I think, Zoe Stark, maybe.
Oh,
that
sounds about right.
From what I remember, it was fine. It wasn't a bad match.
It was a Zoe Stark.
The crowd wasn't really into it. Yeah.
Who did the cash in?
Who did Santos wrestle that night? Santos was on.
Carlito, right? Or
I think Dragon Lee.
Oh no, it was Dragon Lee. That was a good match. And then there was also Gunther and Miz, which was fun. So yeah, very solid card. Sure. Very solid pick from Mr. Shetler. What about you, John Cena?
I will say, Tommy, with the Usos and Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match, I think one of my favorite calls of all time was Michael Cole at the end where he says "Bloodline be damned" when they hit the 1, 2, 3. I don't know why that just came to mind, but I just need to get that.
Tap out Batista. That's my favorite.
Tap out Batista. It's a miracle on what did you say? Bourbon Street?
Yeah, Bourbon Street. Yeah, he was reading it right off the paper. Yeah. It's a miracle on Bourbon Street.
Vince is like, great job out there.
Yeah. Make sure you say Bourbon Street, damn it. But what do you got, Luke? On all seriousness, what do you got?
Night 1 WrestleMania was definitely one of my picks, but I will be going with Money in the Bank because I thought the show. Other than really, I'd say Backlash. I think this is probably the most fun I had watching a show this year. As I pull up the match card, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. I really enjoyed this feud. I know it wasn't received well by everybody, but I thought that the storyline for Finn should have won the championship there. I will still say it till the end. And then you could have set up possibly him versus Damian Priest, and then maybe you wouldn't have to have CM Punk versus Seth with the championship on the line. Maybe that would have worked out better, but that's nor here nor there. Obviously, Jey Uso pinning Roman Reigns, that might have been moment of the year to be completely honest. The crowd obviously being in London was amazing. Then you had the Money in the Bank matches. I remember Logan Paul taking maybe the stiffest bump of the year when he did a little frog splash on a Damian Priest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He literally did not break, barely moved.
Oh, you're not even talking about the one where he went face first through a table?
He also took that bump too, where he went face first.
That was what I thought you were talking about.
That as well. Logan Paul almost died several times. Yeah, I forgot about that.
He was not ready for that at all.
Oh, and then
Ricochet was like, "We're going down, man."
No, had to.
Oh man,
Logan Paul's a baller. I will say that. What else happened in this match card? Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. I don't remember that. Io Sky, my girl, won Money in the Bank. Obviously, might be favorite moment of the year. And then Gunther versus Matt Riddle. And then Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler versus Raquel and Liv Morgan, which I have no record.
Oh yeah, the craziest heel turn of the year. Like that really was surprising.
Yeah,
it took me like a whole 5 minutes to understand what happened. I remember watching that with my dad, and because he had watched it and I hadn't because I was working. And I remember him being like, "Watch what happens in this match," and that was the one match he watched. And like midway through the match, Shayna Baszler just dacked Ronda Rousey in the back of the head. I was like, "What?" I was like, "What happened?" So yeah, it was a good show. Good show all
That was a fun
around.
show.
I gotta give it. I think I gotta give it to Tommy on this
Yeah.
one with WrestleMania Night 1. I really like this one. It's funny. I was sharing text message chain with Shetler before we were on the show tonight, where he was talking, and he reminded me about that. And I think if he hadn't reminded me of this, then I would have went with one of the other two. But he reminded me of how we were watching it all together and how we were, doing how we watched the Fatal 4-Way match and how much fun it was to watch it and everything like that. So I think, like you said, Luke, how Money in the Bank was the most fun you had watching a show this year. I think watching WrestleMania Night 1 was super fun. I haven't watched WrestleMania with friends in a long time, so it was a good time to sit there and watch it with the boys. So I got to give it to Night 1 at WrestleMania for that one, for friendship. I had a couple written down as well. I also had AEW All In, just because of the magnitude of it. I thought it was pretty cool. I also had WrestleMania Night 1 as well on mine, but I also had Backlash. I think Backlash was on another level. The crowd made that show by none. Like, there was nothing on that show. I remember we were at Toppers or something,
Yeah.
and we were like, we don't want to watch this crap. And then we watched it the next day and just had so much fun watching it together. Like, everything about it. The crowd was so hot for it, and it was a really good show overall. And hope we get more stuff in Puerto Rico very soon. But yeah. So now we move on to the match of the year from you guys. So far, I just want to throw this out: all WWE.
I kept it. I didn't know
here.
if we were doing just WWE or WWE.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
I figure. I mean, it's what you guys watch, right? I mean, if you guys are old, I don't want you guys to try to act like, fake something and be like, oh, I'm sure it was a Wrestle Kingdom match. like I watched a little bit of it last night. I won't lie. I watched the first 3 matches, and then I saw 2 guys that I didn't recognize, and I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. But no, it was so I'd rather you guys be honest about what you guys were talking about rather than try to fit something. So 100%. But match of the year, we'll go with Luke first. What do you got, Luke?
Speaking of Backlash, it's Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest.
Oh,
it's Bad Bunny versus Damian
Priest. It's a tough one to beat.
I mean, it maybe not the best in-ring match, but in terms of vibes, in terms of the crowd, in terms of the crazy shit that happened in the match, Carlito coming back, my all-time
wild
favorite. That was amazing. Watching with you guys, obviously amazing. That was the most fun I've had. Like, in a single match, I think that was easily the most fun match of the year. Fucking crazy that Bad Bunny is in a match of the year candidate. Unbelievable. But it worked.
And it's
man.
So well deserved.
It really is.
So deserved.
Probably entrance of the year.
Entrance of the year by far.
For sure.
That was awesome. That and the Guns doing Many Men by 50 Cent. Those are the 2 entrances of the year. But not Luke. Tommy, what do you got?
I was torn because I really wanted to put Gunther, Sheamus, and McIntyre, but I ended up putting Jay and Jimmy versus Roman and Solo at Money in the Bank, just because honestly I didn't think they were gonna win. I thought it was just gonna be Roman, they win, and then Jay's just be like, oh well, let's just do a singles this time. It was the first time that Roman got pinned in God, how many days? It was like.
So it's Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, that's crazy to think. I thought the match was entertaining, too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, very good choices. I love about that tag match, because, like, it was always a trope for a long time with wrestling, was all the champions going to be the tag team match, and then they'll get pinned, and that's how you get the next belt. And it kind of, in many ways, like, ruined the aura of the champion. You know what I mean? Like, oh well, he's already been pinned before. We hadn't seen, like you said, we hadn't seen Roman Reigns be pinned since pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And we had not seen this version of Roman Reigns get pinned in a long time. So to have him get pinned really was, and to see kind of like their reaction about it was very cool. I don't remember much from that match, I'll be honest, but I remember the end, and that's all that really matters. And it was a really, really cool moment. So 1,000,000%, 2 great choices. Shetler went with the triple threat match. He went with Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew. Oh,
I believe that was WWE's match of the year. I think they just had a poll.
Yeah, I think so. That was a crazy poll, but because like Dragunov and Dijak was out like real quick, and that was one of the best matches of the year, I think, without a doubt. But no, this was a really, really solid match. The triple threat. I don't think I need to say it that was a good match. It was just 3 dudes beating the hell out of each other. It felt like a fight, and those are my favorite types of matches. And when they feel like a fight and they don't feel like a match, they feel like a fight. But I think I gotta go with Luke on this one because that is just such a fun match and everything from the entrance. Like there's times in wrestling where I'll be watching it and just an entrance will make me go, oh my god, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And that was one of the times where he comes down to the ring, everything's going great, and the crowd's singing his song word for word verbatim, fired up as they could be, and it just was like, we're gonna see something special here. And everything from Carlito coming back to Dom getting booed to Savio Vega and the entrance ramp doing all this, like that was so dumb, but it was so professional wrestling, and that was what I loved about it so much was how great that match was. So gotta give it to that match, 100%. I wrote down a couple here. I had Bad Bunny, Damian Priest. I had Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Gunther. The other match I had was Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega for Forbidden Door. I think that's one of the best matches I've ever seen, without a doubt. That was such an amazing match. And we talk about moments. Kenny Omega kicking out of the one-winged angel at 1 as the announcer's going, nobody kicks out of the one-winged angel. Kicks out of it at 1, and just to hear the crowd going crazy for it. Again, just all-time stuff that. Really, really good, brutal match. A match that I was like, I don't really care. Another one I really didn't care to see. It's like, it's just I don't care for these New Japan style matches that are long and whatever. This one was really brutal, really fun, and really, really amazing match. One of the all-time things, all-timers, all-time. But yeah, I'll give it to Bad Bunny, Damian Priest because in my opinion, that was the most fun I've had watching wrestling in a long time. And we'll round it off with the almighty, not Bobby Lashley, the almighty wrestler of the year. I'll give Shetler's pick first. I'm curious to see how many of you guys picked him. And he wrote, I know I'm going to get heat for this one. I don't know where the heat's coming from because it's Seth Rollins. He went with Seth Rollins for wrestler of the year. Yeah. Is that something you guys object to?
I don't object. I mean, he's a workhorse. He got his championship this year. I think there's very few wrestlers that have worked more matches than him throughout the year. So I don't hate the pick. It wouldn't be my first pick. Kind of just considering like what he's done the past few months and kind of getting a little stale his gimmick there. But yeah, it's not a bad pick at all.
Tommy?
I had Seth Rollins as well for this one. So
okay,
there you go.
For me, I just felt like he kind of did a lot with that championship. Like there's a workhorse world heavyweight championship now, where it's like I feel like you need that if you're gonna have what Roman's doing, because they've always had like they were doing it with Brock. Like Brock would be the one champion for Raw. He'd come every 5 months, do a UFC match, and then come back, and then someone would be on SmackDown and be like AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, then Brock Lesnar won that title. So it's like you need someone who's going to be there every week and defend it, I feel like. And I also feel like too, I feel like this is one of his better years since like 2015, that 2014, 2015 Rollins, because a lot of that in between, I felt like he was very bland. Like I know 2020 he was really good too, but like the time leading up to that, he was just very subpar. I feel like he kind of got back to where he was before when he was corporate Browns and like he had the Money in the Bank, and then right before he tore his ACL. So
yeah, no, solid pick. I think he did have a good year. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Rollins guy, but you know, credit where credit's due. He really did put on a really good year, and in like, because we talk about the good in wrestling a lot, which I really like about this stuff, because I hate talking about the bad. But watching Raw on a weekly basis was a certain, like, there was definitely a negative to that, in that it was the same stuff every week, and it was Rollins comes down to the ring, Cody comes down to the ring, Judgment Day comes down to the ring, some iteration of a tag team match with those two, Owens and Zayn, against some version of the Judgment Day, and it was that every week for like a summer. Not to sound like Bobby Lee there, but like every day for summer, it was that went over both of you guys' heads.
I got it.
Okay. But no, so that was tough. That was tough to watch. But he definitely did carry that, because they were always fun matches, and they were fun matches because of Seth Rollins. So 100% there. Luke, who's your pick?
I have a tie. And I don't really care. I will break the rules. So First one that came to mind, obviously, was the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. I don't think he's had a bad match since being on the main roster. I don't think he's had a bad feud since being on the main roster. You look at the talent that he's gone up against this year. I mean, from Bronson Reed to Chad Gable to everybody in between, The Miz. You had Tommaso Ciampa for a little bit. Every style of wrestler you can imagine, he clicks with. I love his moveset. I love that you don't know what finisher he's going to use to end off a match.
Yeah.
I love the brutalness of him. He's going to be a world champion sooner than later, probably even this year. I would say at some point he's probably going to win it. Second person I needed to give credit for because I think she really is the only, I'd say, main attraction when it comes to women's wrestling right now. I'm sorry, Io Sky, but
I thought you were going to say Io Sky.
No, the rain isn't doing it for me. But Rhea Ripley, I thought, has had an incredible year. It's a shame that her reign is kind of being, I'd say, not like, we'll say downplayed a little bit because the talent around her just isn't amazing right now. There's not a Charlotte Flair. Obviously, she's hurt right now, but there's not a big name for her to go up against other than Becky Lynch. And I think they're saving that till Mania, so they're kind of just holding off a little bit. But I think she's had an incredible year as well, so I needed to give her props too.
Yeah, I think Gunther and Rhea Ripley in many ways have had an oddly similar year in that they've both like been given almost nothing, but they've made it work. Like Rhea Ripley like has really had to go against, like, you look at like probably the track record of who she's wrestled at pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh,
like Natalia.
Like there's nothing. Right, Natalia. She did Raquel Rodriguez. I think she wrestled. Who she wrestled recently? I said Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark. Yep.
Like, I'm sure there's one. Who I don't know, she got a match at SummerSlam or something. Zelina Vega. Right. Like these aren't like matches that should be interesting, and they shouldn't be like, because not for a second do I believe any of those people are beating Rhea Ripley. Maybe Raquel, but that's it. And she made us. She made it believe her. You know, like she would. She's great seller, like amazing. You know, there was that time a couple years ago where she sold so hard she knocked her own tooth out of her mouth. Remember that? She like did like a DDT crazy style and like kneed herself in the jaw, like gave herself like a crazy concussion. So I mean that says a lot. Is that, you know, she's been, people have said the reign's been underwhelming. I don't think at all. I mean, she got a good match. I mean, no, it's not technically, it's not 2023, but she had a good match on Monday against Ivy Nile, which was cool. Because, you know, that's big. You know, you got somebody in the ring that nobody knows about, and you make them cheer for them by the end of it. And that's really to be said. And Gunther did the same this year with guys like The Miz, Johnny Gargano, Matt Riddle, even Drew McIntyre. You know, really made the crowd believers that, hey, this could be the time where it's over. Chad Gable. I mean, you know, he made the crowd pop for false finishes, and that's the best thing you could do is if you're in a match like that. So it's tough though. It's a tough three, because those were the exact three that I was thinking when it came to Wrestler of the Year. Oh man,
didn't have Ripley, any other names written down. Gunther, or that's where
I did. I had Will Ospreay, but that's okay. I'll give it to, because there was a lot of Will Ospreay that I didn't see this year, but what I did see was pretty good. He had a great match with Speedball, Mike Bailey at Bound for Glory. He had a great match with Kenny Omega, like we just talked about. He had a couple good matches. With, who did he wrestle over the summer? I forget off the top of my head, but he definitely had some
honestly
some pretty solid
I think
stuff.
He might be best wrestler on the planet right now. Like purely
he's gotta be up there. I'm excited, and I'm a little weary to see what he does in AEW, just because I don't know. I'm curious to see how they handle him. From what I hear, he had a really good match last night at the Thunderdome, the Tokyo Dome against Jon Moxley and Finley's son. But I'll give it to Gunther. It's hard to not give it to Gunther. He's had a great 2023. I don't think anybody really doubted that he would have a great 2023, but the Intercontinental title feels like on another level, especially like considering that, you know, you didn't have Reigns for a majority. And I know we're going past 2023 here, but you didn't have Reigns for a majority of this guy's reign. And you can argue that the Intercontinental title is just as prestigious. I mean, who held? Here's the question for you: who did he beat for it?
Was it Ricochet?
You guys remember?
Was it Ricochet?
Yeah,
it was Ricochet. So like that just should show where the state of the Intercontinental title was when he won it versus where he is now. So like, you know, you look at that lineage before Gunther, it was like Ricochet, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews. Like this title meant nothing for a long time, and now it means something. And you know, you got people that want to wrestle for it, like The Miz and Jey Uso and Chad Gable, and like that's just having the wrestlers say, I want to wrestle for this belt, will automatically make the belt feel much more prestigious.
Yeah.
So props to Gunther, props to Rhea Ripley, and props to everybody that I named there.
Oh, for sure.
For a great 2023.
Like just small nuances, like him calling it the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, is enough to make it feel, and especially just because it's him saying that, like it's enough to make it feel more special than it actually is, or at least has been in years past. He's been great this entire year. And
I love too, which is really unsung about the way that they've been booking the guy in the last couple of years, that they don't list like sometimes when people have undefeated streaks, they did it with Asuka, they obviously did it with Goldberg, AW just did it with Jade Cargill. They'll start going, she's 48-0, she's 49-0. They haven't done that with Gunther. They don't say he's 110-0.
Like Goldberg,
because to me that like,
you like Goldberg in his reign.
So like, but like that takes away from it. You know what I mean? Like if they're gonna keep saying that, because now it's like you're just almost waiting for them to lose. Where that hasn't been the case with Gunther, where when he loses, it's going to be a big deal. I don't know who, and that's the thing, we don't know who it's going to be. I have no idea. Thought it would maybe Drew McIntyre, and it's not. Thought maybe it was Sheamus, it's not. Thought maybe it was going to be, Chad Gable, and it hasn't been. So I'm a little bit curious to see how it does. I'm okay if he loses it tomorrow. I'd rather see him do other things. But
even his Royal Rumble, that he had,
63 minutes or whatever was really solid as well. Again, like, had the crowd cheering for him at the end there against Cody. Everything was awesome. So really, really good stuff. He's the perfect heel, and I don't think he's going to be a heel for long. I think he's just going to be, people are going to realize how great he is and just say he's going to be a babyface now. Might be one of them natural turns. Might be hard, but I think it's going to be where they wind up going. But incredible stuff from him. And whoever takes over the Intercontinental title when he's done is going to be just primed to be who's next. So I'm excited. I'm excited to say that. And Gunther is the wrestler of the year, according to four of us.
Good award show.
Yeah. Good award show. Yeah, we'll have to make this a yearly thing. So yeah, it's a little quick recap. Let's see what I remember and what I don't. Our breakout star of the year we gave to Dirty Dom. Our most underrated of the year we gave to Chad Gable. Our non-wrestler of the year we gave to Santi,
Mr.
from TikTok.
Yes, sir.
Won Your Heart award we gave to, who did we give that to?
R-Truth.
R-Truth, right. Show of the year we gave to Backlash. No, we didn't. We gave it to WrestleMania Night 1. Match of the year, we gave that one to Priest and Bad Bunny, and then rest of the year is Gunther. So yeah, great award show, gents. We'll have to make sure we stay friends so we could do this again in a year, and we'll look back at it.
100%. Off the top slammies.
Off the top slammies. We'll have to come. I don't want to call him just topper of the year because I don't want to upset Mr. Ryan Joyce.
Question: should we also do worst of the year? That could also.
Ooh,
we could also.
Let's do that. We'll do that at some point because what we'll talk about here at the end just for a second is, we're gonna try to get some more stuff out here on a weekly basis. At least I'd love to. I don't know if you guys want to, but I think it'll be fun. We'll get back to the old watching some shows and stuff. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that for next week.
I could be for that.
I gotta see. Yeah,
we're not watching another Zack Ryder Raw.
Yeah,
we're not watching the Zack Ryder Raw.
Rumble.
We'll watch something. We'll watch something pretty solid. I think we'll do that for next week. And so we're gonna try to find a date once me and Shaq get back up to school that'll work for the four of us, and we'll go from there. We're all busy people. Tommy's got a full-time job. Luke's working. I'm working. I'm going to school. Shatler's working. He's going to school. So we're busy people. We don't have free time.
We're not just like Von Wagner. We just don't sit around and go.
Yeah, right. Therapy. Where's he been?
Yeah, where is Von Wagner?
He's in physical therapy, isn't he?
He was eating dinner with the Stones. He was bringing cosmic brownies over for Thanksgiving. We haven't seen him since. That should have been who won our heart this year.
That's true.
We missed the vote on that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we liked him beforehand, though.
Did we? I thought it was very he won my heart because I could care less about that dude. I just thought his promos were funny.
Come Tuesday.
And now by the end, he's like, I brought brownies, and it's like cosmic brownies, and like, thanks, Fawn. And like Robert Stone's wife comes out, she's like, Fawn, and like the kids love Von Wagner. Man, he's like, your dad wants to make you eat some vegetables.
I'm not ready, Rob.
Yeah, he's great. So that was a missed opportunity by us to throw him into the Won Your Heart award. But maybe next year. But no, that'll do it for another great episode of the what's this called? Off the top. I do like 10 things. I wanted to call it my radio show, and I know I couldn't. But yeah, so that'll do it for another episode of Off the Top. We'll come back at you hopefully next week with some new content. We did that whole draft thing that I never posted, so maybe we'll redo that.
Number one
With
pick, Creed
Shetler this
Brothers,
time.
looking really good, by the way. I'll just say. I'll just say
Nobody will
that.
know. Nobody knows.
I'll say that.
ain't nobody know about that. Just us.
Oh,
But yeah. So yeah, we'll keep spreading the word. Like I said, big year for 2024. I think this year's going to be for professional wrestling. We got The Rock maybe coming back. CM Punk's back to WWE. AEW's hot. New Japan seems to be hot. They just got Dolph Ziggler last night. We got TNA's coming back. Probably some other things are going to happen. CM Punk will probably punch
Schism.
Yeah, he'll probably punch Joe Gacy in the back and get fired again. So week before he'll come out at WrestleMania and he just fist fought Titus O'Neil backstage.
Him and Von Wagner were going at it
because Titus O'Neil held him back. He held him back for Stephanie McMahon to walk by. So CM Punk socked him one, and Tony Khan feared for his life. He wasn't even in the building, but he feared for his life nonetheless. So yeah. So
he was on
big year.
He was on the phone with his brother Nick and was like, "Oh my God, is CM Punk causing a fight right there?"
He goes, "I can sense it. I can sense it." He goes, "Let me talk to Daniel Bryan. We'll get this figured out."
He's got a great moral compass.
Yeah, we'll talk to Daniel Bryan. I'll figure it out. But the disciplinary committee, get that off Twitter. But no, so big year coming. You're not gonna want to find any more updates on the wrestling content anywhere but here. So make sure to check us out throughout the year of 2024. Luke, Tommy, thank you for joining once and always. Anything you want to say heading into the new year?
I think you summed it up, man.
Nope.
Yeah.
Luke? Yeet. No yeet. No yeet. You got to get the phone call from the tribal chief.
Throw up the
throw up the two.
Just throw them up.
Yeah, rest in peace. I'll do it once
for Schism.
The Schism.
Okay. Yeah,
rest in peace.
R.I.P.
They're running DPW right now. Schism's in DPW.
What's up with the Rock's daughter and why she got such
She's
a
in
I don't know. She's like the GM of NXT now.
Oh God.
Yeah, she just came out of Shawn Michaels' office and cut they were like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Next week the Dusty Men's Tag Team Classic is coming back." And I was like, "What? Don't you have a spell to cast or something?"
It's so rare.
What are you doing here? Yeah, she said next week the Dusty Men's Classic is coming back. If you smell what the Rock is cooking up.
Wasn't she?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I have no idea. It's very weird. Somebody said, I saw on Twitter, somebody said she found Jesus because she's hanging out with Shawn Michaels. So maybe Shawn Michaels introduced her to God. So we'll see. She was just on drugs, Festus style.
Maybe God will be your new tag partner. He's done it before.
Yeah, God, Joe Gacy, and Ava from the Schism. 6-man tag against the Creed brothers and Ivy Now. Big for Luke Rosenthal's fantasy points there. But all right, let's end this once and for all. Tommy's gonna go watch the Iron Claw. Maybe we'll get a full review next week. But make sure to join us next week when we talk some more wrestling again. See you all very soon.